Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So today, you already know, we gonna be talking about this boy yet again. It's about damn time, ain't that right? Yeah. All right. So anyway, we're probably not going to be expecting Sonic X Shadow Generations until very late in the year, probably maybe around like November, probably somewhere closer to the holidays. So because of that, we haven't really gotten any news or updates or anything like that regarding Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is fine, you know, they're cooking up in a lot of different ways. They've still got the movie coming out, and they're definitely like shadow advertising it in a way with all these different leaks and stuff like that, with Keanu actually being revealed as the voice of Shadow in that movie and stuff like that. So they've got a lot going on in the Sonic space. Sonic X Shadow Generations is just going to be the cherry on top to end off the year in the video game space, which is great. That's dandy. That's awesome. That's fine. Sonic Generations is definitely, undoubtedly, one of the best Sonic games, and to remaster that and remix it so that we actually have Shadow as a playable character with his own story in Sonic X Shadow Generations, that is a beautiful way to re-give us that game. I'm totally fine with it. Most of us Sonic fans are definitely okay with that, and we're very much looking forward to it, right? So, with all of that in mind, since we have absolutely no information yet or nothing to go off of, before we get any kind of news, updates, or anything to speculate on, I want to go ahead and give my thoughts, my hopes and wishes for this game, right? I actually wrote down this hopes and wishes list a very long time ago, right? A while back, because, you know, when they first dropped it, I was thinking like, yeah, no, I'm gonna make a bunch of videos on this, yada, yada, yada. But then I quickly realized, I'm like, maybe not, because there's really not that much to talk about yet. But there are a couple of things that I would like to address regarding Sonic X Shadow Generations, because eventually when we do get that game, hopefully maybe we can stream it together. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. But I would like to talk about some of the things that I would like to see going into Sonic X Shadow Generation. Some changes I would like to see, some new implementations I would like to see, and all of that good stuff. So why don't we go ahead, stop wasting time, and start getting right into this. I am one of the many that have played Sonic Generations a billion times, right? That game is so short, so quick, but it's so fun that I've come back to it time and time again within the last decade, because it's literally been a PlayStation 3. It was a PlayStation 3, no. Was it on Xbox? I don't know. I played it over and over again on PlayStation 3. They eventually re-released it on PC, got it there, and then now we're going to be getting it again. So I played this game hundreds of times to the point where I think it's pretty in need of a lot of different content, right? Starting with new stages. It desperately needs new stages if you're going to re-release this game with the same storyline. There's so many different Sonic games that they did not pull from when creating Sonic Generations. Sonic Generations is supposed to be the celebration. I think that was that the 20 year or 30 year? It was a celebration of Sonic's history, right? And they pulled from some of the most iconic levels and stages from a bunch of different Sonic entries, right? Obviously Green Hill, you know, Rooftop, Run, super iconic levels. They even grabbed from 06. That's a crazy thing that most of us will probably never get over, because they tried so hard to bury that only to utilize it in the anniversary game. Crazy thing, but either way, we appreciated it because it was actually a really good level, right? Who the hell doesn't love Crisis City? That was sick, man. But regardless, there's still so many stages that they have yet to pull from, you know what I'm saying? The first beach stage in Sonic Adventure. It's been a while since I've played the first Sonic Adventure, but there's so many iconic areas in the first Sonic Adventure that I'm really shocked that they didn't pull more from that. So maybe a couple more pulls from Sonic Adventure 1, possibly more from 2, even though, you know, we did get Radical Highway and stuff like that, which is totally fine. I appreciate that as is, so no worries there. And I'm sure they're probably going to pull more from that, considering that the Shadow storyline is going to follow, you know, his origin and stuff like that. And so we're probably going to see more Radical Highway. We're probably going to see a couple more situations from Sonic Adventure 2. So that's all fine and dandy. But man, let's get creative here. Let's get wild. You know what I'm saying? Let's pull from Sonic Rush. You know what I'm saying? Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure are some of the most fun Sonic games that don't get talked about enough. And it's absolutely ridiculous to me that those games don't get acknowledged at all anymore. I think it's about time we switch that up. Those games games are fun, they have really cool levels and aesthetics and stuff like that, and they can absolutely utilize that. Let's go ahead and run that one back, right? Why didn't we pull some from Sonic and the Secret Rings or Sonic and the Black Knight? Those two games are insanely important to Sonic's history. A lot of the levels in those games have really good design, aesthetic, and music, even if the games themselves aren't incredible. I mean, Sonic and the Black Knight was really good, actually. Sonic and the Secret Rings, whatever. But regardless, they have a lot of cool aesthetics and ideas in those levels that can absolutely be utilized in Sonic Generations, right? So I feel like if we're talking an anniversary, those games are major players in the game. Can't really ignore those. If you're gonna pull from Sonic 06, you can pull from Secret Rings and Black Knight too. I'm just saying. And hey, we're far enough in the future now. Go ahead and pull something from Forces. Make it a little bit better, of course, and make it an actual platformer instead of a straight line, but pull from Sonic Forces. Hell, pull from Sonic Superstars. There's so many new games and levels and old games and levels that you could absolutely still pull from that absolutely deserve the recognition. So I would absolutely vote for that. Go ahead and do that. Either way, I want to see some new stages. No matter what you got to do it, I want to see some new blood in there. After that, I think it's kind of a fair request, right? That if we're going to get a playable Shadow in some way, shape, and form in this game, I think it's fair to ask that we get the chance after we beat Shadow's storyline to be able to play as him in the main game. Of course, it doesn't have to be like a story thing, it could just be kind of an aesthetics thing. He literally moves the exact same way as Sonic. All you gotta do is make it so that the model is available to be utilized in main story levels. I wanna play as Shadow through Seaside Hill. I wanna play as him during Rooftop Run. I think it's a fair ask, right? I don't think that that's that crazy of a request. And if you can manipulate it so that we can actually utilize some of his chaos abilities in those levels to make them feel a little bit more different, that would be really cool too. I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there. And while we're at it, maybe, just maybe, if you're playing as Shadow in the main campaign, after you've beaten it, maybe the rival battle turns into a Sonic rival battle instead. Right? Where Shadow was originally going to be, you would replace that with Sonic, and then you're fighting. You see what I'm saying? I think that would just be really neat. There's no reason not to do that. I think that I would also like to see other playable characters in the side missions, right? Of course, during those side missions, there's usually very specific like requests and things that you have to do. I would like different playable characters in those, as opposed to just having a random partner like Charmy or Little Tails and stuff like that. I want to be able to move around as Big the Cat. I want to be able to actually play as Blaze. Maybe a little segment where I actually do have to play as Silver and I have to move things out of the way to be able to progress through the level. Is that too much of an ask? Am I crazy for that? I can't glide around as Knuckles for like 5, 10, maybe minutes. Is that really that much of a request? I don't think that that's that crazy, but maybe that's too big of an ask. But the game is well over a decade old. I feel like we could make a couple of changes here and there to really help justify this AAA title purchase. Because I know for a fact, if y'all were willing to charge us $60 for Sonic Superstars, this game is absolutely going to be $60. So if you're going to pull that, then you may as well make it worth our time. Don't pull another Sonic Colors Ultimate. Do not do that. That's a warning. Now, this one is much bigger of an ask and one that I absolutely do not expect to be a thing. However, I would, if you can, like to see some kind of a revamped story, okay? Because the story in of itself in Sonic Generations is virtually really non-existent. We have the situation where Sonic just kind of shows up. It's kind of like Sonic Colors in a way, because to be fair, this was right after Sonic Colors. Like, this was the generation, well, that's super ironic, but this was part of the generation where they decided to switch up Sonic's character a little bit, go more for the humor aspect, and really lean into the more fun side of Sonic as opposed to, you know, the darker tone, you know, crazy shonen story type beat. So, if we can, though, I would like to see a little bit more story, maybe some fixed up voice work and things like that, because the story did have a lot of potential, only for it to be kind of flubbed solely because they figured, hey, it's just an anniversary title, revisiting all these levels and stuff like that. We don't really need to do anything crazy. I would really appreciate it if you guys would mind going out of your way a little bit to revamp that story if you can. Add a little more elements here and there, maybe some more dialogue, maybe something with more side quests and stuff with the characters that we rescue, like Knuckles and Amy and things like that, okay? Of course, I know we have the actual side quests, but I feel like there's definitely a lot more that can be done with that. I think that the last thing that I want to request here is actually that we do get more rival battles if we can manage that, okay? Because nothing against the rival battles that we have, and I get that those rival battles actually served as a purpose to obtain the Chaos Emeralds. There's definitely more we can do with that concept though, right? I loved Shadow as a battle, I loved Metal Sonic, and I loved Silver, okay? But it's kind of weird that modern Sonic got more rivals than classic Sonic. Isn't that a little strange to me? I thought that was kind of weird. But regardless, we can absolutely add more rivals for classic Sonic. Classic Knuckles. I think that would be an awesome one for starters. And then as far as Modern Sonic goes, if you want to add a couple more, honestly, at this point, throw in Infinite, because Infinite was actually a pretty cool character that was just underutilized in his game. But I feel like he'd be really fun as a boss. Either way, regardless, I feel like there's so many different characters throughout the Sonic universe that can be utilized in more proper ways, and I would love to see that happen if you can make it happen. That's it. But that just about wraps it up, actually, for most of my hopes and wishes for Sonic X Shadow Generations. I don't think that this list is anything too crazy outside of the revamped story, which I doubt is going to happen. It's going to be remastered. For the most part, I feel like most of the story beats are going to be intact as they were, maybe with a couple of updates here and there. Hopefully they fix that mic situation that they had a decade ago. I don't know how that got past any kind of testing or anything like that, but whatever. Regardless, I am very excited for Sonic X Shadow Generations. Even if most of this stuff doesn't really come to fruition, I'm most likely going to enjoy that game thoroughly anyway for generations to come. But before we skedaddle on out of here, you know the drill. Go ahead and tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below. Do you think that my list is valid? Do you think that a lot of the requests that I've made for Sonic X Shadow Generations make a lot of sense, and that we could actually see these things as viable additions to the remastered game? Or do you think that I'm insane? None of these things need to be present. We just need the Shadow storyline, and we can just leave it at that. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, yeah, it's about skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I would like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm Gonzo. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.